And buckle up, folks.
Hey, is this normal? Like space turbulence?
Pretty much.
Welcome to Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy. Okay, so when it comes to Captain Marvel, there's a lot of opinions. Some are positive, others are negative. I don't think the movie's terrible, I just found it to be kind of boring and very formulaic.
Everyone's a critic.
Which is frustrating because Captain Marvel could have been an awesome space adventure movie, giving us a fantastic new hero to love and exploring whole new horizons of the MCU. But it just didn't. So in this video, I'm going to give our take on the movie, and how it might have been so much better with a different direction for the plot and Carol Danvers herself.
You ready?
Higher, further, faster, baby.
That's right.
Now to be clear, I don't hate Captain Marvel. I think there's way too much negativity for that movie as it is, so I don't want to add to that myself. If you love Captain Marvel, please know that I'm not doing this video to bash the movie. This is just a fun experiment to see what this movie could have been with our ideas, which are just that, our ideas. Anyway, we already did a whole video talking about some of our biggest issues with Captain Marvel, so be sure to check that out if you have a chance. I think overall Brie Larson did a good job with what she had to work with. The buddy cop stuff between Carol and Fury was pretty fun, and Ben Mendelsohn's Talos is just a legend.
Young lady, I have a special skill that kind of allows me to get into places I'm not supposed to be.
Call me young lady again, I'm gonna put my foot in a place it's not supposed to be.
Am I supposed to guess where that is?
And that cat, man, I love the cat. But the movie has its problems. I really did try to like Carol as a character, but she had a somewhat inconsistent personality. The overall feeling I got was that something was missing. Carol is an ace fighter pilot who gets godlike cosmic powers. There's so much potential there. I mean, just imagine Maverick from Top Gun getting superpowers, or Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica. This stuff just writes itself. Also, there's the setting. Spending so much time on Earth was a waste. Carol is a badass space hero, and you put her on Earth for most of the movie?
Earth's boring.
So for this tweak, we're going to spend very little time on Earth, and most of the movie will take place in space.
Who here hasn't been to space?
Why?
You better not throw up on my ship.
And we're going for a Star Wars meets James Bond vibe. Strange combination, but trust me, this is going to be fun. Also, I like the 90s as much as the next guy, but beyond the young Nick Fury stuff, there was no point for the movie to take place 20 years before the Avengers assembled. It didn't add anything to the plot, and it just raised a bunch of annoying questions like, why didn't Carol show up on Earth sooner?
You think I'm gonna crank call you?
For emergencies only, okay? For emergencies only, okay?
Nah, they'll be fine.
So, my version of the movie takes place somewhere in between Age of Ultron and Infinity War. Yeah, that means no young Fury, but honestly, I don't think we need a young Nick Fury, at least not in a Captain Marvel movie. Speaking of origins, we're gonna have to heavily adjust Carol's backstory. Look, Captain Marvel's history in the comics is an utter mess filled with endless retcons. 7 other heroes became Captain Marvel before Carol, including this guy.
Yeah, his name is, Captain Sparkle Fingers.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's not my name.
So, I'm going to pick and choose different elements from Carol's history and adjust them for this version. Finally, no memory loss. I know, it's Carol's thing in the comics, but it's such a boring plot device and we just don't need it. With all that being said, let's do this.
You guys take care of him, and I'll bring a Bazorian elixir when I come back.
Where are you going?
To kill Thanos.
At the start of the movie, Carol is an ace fighter pilot for the Air Force. That's Carol at her best in the cockpit, riding the skies in a supersonic jet. But she gets a little arrogant, she's impulsive, and she's got a chip on her shoulder. She feels like she has a lot to prove, mainly due to her traumatic childhood. Carol's father was a drunk and made her feel small her entire life. So now she's trying to stick it to her dad, and she takes it out on every authority figure, male or female. Her father drilled it into her head that nothing will ever become of her, but Carol keeps trying to prove her father wrong, letting her demons always cast doubt on even her greatest accomplishments.
Don't let your past dictate who you are.
So because of that, she's on this important mission and everything goes terribly wrong. She gets benched, not allowed back in the cockpit, and is almost kicked out of the Air Force. For Carol, not being allowed back in the plane is her worst nightmare. It's proof that her father was right. So just as Carol starts self-destructing, she gets a second chance from Maria Rambeau. In this version, Maria is older than Carol, and she used to be Carol's flight instructor and sort of an older sister figure to her. Carol pushed Maria away just like she does all her other friends. Flying was her everything, and having a life was a distraction. Maria sets Carol up with a job at SWORD, but not as a pilot, but as a security officer, because before she can fly again, she has to go on an emotional journey. The SWORD base is a space station orbiting Earth, and her mission is to keep an eye on Dr. Walter Lawson. Now, Walter Lawson is the human name for Mar-Vell. I get why they gender swapped him for the movie, but the comics Mar-Vell is crucial for Carol's story, and that's the version that we're going to use. And there's also a very good reason for that change that's going to become clear soon.
I am Generous Hala's son, Mar-Vell, Plus commander of the Kree Void Science Navy.
Mar-Vell is working on a new type of spaceship engine, harnessing energy from the Tesseract. And yes, at this point, the Space Stone is on Asgard, but remember all of those Hydra weapons that were powered by the Tesseract?
Phase 2 is S.H.I.E.L.D. uses the cube to make weapons.
We gathered everything related to the Tesseract. This does not mean that we're
sorry, Nick. What were you lying?
Well, same thing here. SWORD got a hold of those Hydra weapons and reutilized them for Project Pegasus. Or I guess it can just be the Psych Magnetron thingy from the comics. It doesn't really matter. Either works.
Well, that's why you picked a dumb f***ing name.
So one thing leads to another, and the base is attacked by Skrulls, who infiltrated SWORD. They want to steal Lawson's work as they know that he's a Kree. The Skrulls accidentally blow up the Tesseract-powered engine, which almost kills Carol. But Mar-Vell saves her, shielding her with his body and revealing his Kree powers. Carol absorbs the Space Stone energy and her blood mixes with Mar-Vell's, which changes her DNA, turning her into a superhuman Kree hybrid. After that, Carol travels with Mar-Vell to the Kree Empire to understand her new cosmic powers and stop a Skrull attack on Earth.
The Kree are one of the galaxy's most ancient civilizations, one of the superpowers. We're at war with another one, the Skrulls.
Carol joins Star Force, which is the Kree Special Forces unit, tasked with protecting Kree space and locating Skrull spies in the Empire. And this is where the James Bond stuff comes in. The movie becomes a fun space spy action movie, as Carol, Mar-Vell, and Star Force are on the mission to uncover Skrull conspiracies. Here we start seeing Carol having some real fun, enjoying her new destiny. She and the Star Force travel the stars, meet other aliens, explore new worlds, expand the cosmic side of the MCU. But it's not all perfect. She lets it go to her head. She becomes reckless and arrogant. Remember, she got punished for that type of behavior as a pilot, but now she sees her powers as a reward, the ultimate middle finger to her dad that proves he was wrong. And for Carol, that's a dangerous validation. But you know the saying,
with great power comes...
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Right.
Having godlike cosmic powers works as a perfect contrast to Carol's tenacity. She became a pilot thanks to work and determination, never giving up. So she must now understand the value of these new cosmic abilities and how to use them to help everyone in the universe. It's not the powers that make her special, but who she is as a person and what she does with her abilities.
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
And as Carol begins facing her own truth, she uncovers the dark secrets of the Kree-Skrull War. The Kree use propaganda to paint the Skrulls as terrorists, while the Kree present themselves as a peaceful race that protects the Empire from the evil shapeshifters.
The Skrulls sim alien races to infiltrate and take over planets.
And you're a Kree, a race of noble warriors.
Heroes. Noble warrior heroes.
But on her travels, Carol discovers that the Kree are fascists, seeing themselves as superior to any other race, hell-bent on expanding their empire at the cost of other lives. The Skrulls use religion zealously to control their own people. Many of them become fanatics, believing in some ancient prophecy that allows them to justify their terrible crimes, each side vilifying the other. This allows the leaders of both sides to control their people and use them as cannon fodder. Long ago, the Kree were almost slaughtered by the Skrulls. To save themselves, the Kree created the Supreme Intelligence, which is a supercomputer AI.
The Supreme Intelligence is a collection of the greatest minds of the Kree people. Their biomatter focused through the ultimate computer.
With the Supreme Intelligence, the Kree turned the tide against the Skrulls and overthrew the shapeshifters, eventually forming the Kree Empire. But the Supreme Intelligence decided that the Kree-Skrull War must continue, since it's the only thing that's keeping the Kree strong. Over the years, the Supreme Intelligence experimented on the Kree, splicing Kree DNA with other aliens, all part of its mission to create superior Kree soldiers. And Captain Marvel is a product of that. This is why Mar-Vell was working on the space station engine. The Supreme Intelligence used some quantum computer calculations that led to this chain of events, unbeknownst to Mar-Vell. But the conflict becomes far more personal for Carol as she learns Mar-Vell's deepest secret. Years ago, he fell in love with another Kree woman, but plot twist, she's a Skrull spy named Nell. However, during her mission, she developed feelings for Mar-Vell, and despite the war between their people, their love persevered. And the two are parents of a Kree-Skrull hybrid who will one day grow up to be Hulkling. Young Avengers. Mar-Vell is conflicted about this. Since he's served the Empire all his life, he believes in the Kree ways and he can't betray his people. But he cannot deny what he feels for Nell and his son. So it's Carol's responsibility to break the wheel of war and save these two fanatical people from each other and the rest of the universe.
It's a beautiful dream. Stopping the wheel.
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
So things get heated when the Kree and the Skrulls learn about Hulkling. The Skrulls believe they can use the child's DNA to create the Super Skrulls, while the Supreme Intelligence wants to destroy the child since he threatens its tyrannical hold. If the Kree learn about this hybrid, it proves that there can be peace between these people. So Mar-Vell's child is caught in the middle of this conflict. And when the Kree capture Hulkling, we witness Carol's turning point. Hulkling reminds her how powerless and afraid she was as a little girl. The Kree and the Skrulls represent her father, a tyrannical person who hurt her and belittled her to feel superior. So she won't stand for it, not anymore, and she's done letting her father's shadow loom over her, controlling her life, preventing her from growing as a person.
I've been fighting with one arm tied behind my back. I'm finally set free.
This whole experience of war and cosmic powers allows Carol to discover who she really is. Not a little girl who's haunted by her dead father, but a strong and determined woman who has the willpower to make a difference on a cosmic scale. Carol inspires Mar-Vell and others, both Kree and Skrulls, to rebel against this tyrannical establishment. In case you're wondering, Talos can also be one of these good guy Skrulls. So all of this leads to the movie's climactic space battle as the Kree and the Skrulls clash on Hala. For Carol and her new friends, it's all about saving Hulkling from these two forces. At first, Carol uses her powers to battle against both the Kree and the Skrulls, giving Mar-Vell the opening to go and save his kid. But as the battle gets bloody, Carol realizes that she's using her powers wrong. She's only adding more violence to the conflict, just like she did at the start of the movie. She must be more than just a cosmic weapon. So she begins using her powers to stop the fighting. At the same time, she shows both sides her full power as a type of warning. Don't mess with me, stop fighting, because I can blow all of you up. Kind of like a space nuclear deterrent.
You could be the bridge between two peoples. You can save all of them.
Eventually, Carol and Mar-Vell face the Supreme Intelligence. They're able to save Hulkling, but by paying a terrible price. Mar-Vell sacrifices his life to save Carol from death once again. Carol destroys the Supreme Intelligence, finally freeing the Kree and the Skrulls from its control.
Why? Why did you do that?
I can save today. You can save the world.
And while the battle is over, there's much work left to do. Carol can't just wave her hands and end the Kree-Skrull War in one day. It will take time to bring true peace between the people. Something for the sequel to explore, especially with the tease of the Super Skrulls. At the end of the movie, Carol returns to Earth and makes things right with Maria. She brings Nell and Hulkling with her, believing they will be safer on Earth, where they can start a new life. However, Carol decides that she can't stay on Earth for long. The Avengers are there to protect the planet, but her responsibility is much grander. There's a whole universe out there, and it's her job to protect it.
There are a lot of other planets in the universe, and unfortunately, they didn't have you guys.
And Carol herself was excited about this idea of being this space protector, a chance to do some good in the universe. And that's our Captain Marvel tweak. What did you think? Do you think it makes the movie better, or do you already like Captain Marvel as is? Let me know in the comments or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.